Bang. Welcome back, folks. It is Monday, the 17th of May, and we're all probably licking our wounds, those of us who are long, for the wounds that Mr. Musk inflicted. It's not just Mr. Musk, but he's certainly been active the last 2 weeks, folks, in pumping up and pumping down a lot of DeFi and crypto and Bitcoin, and not necessarily pushing down on Doge, though. He's still a big supporter of Doge. But boy, he couldn't say too many nice things about Bitcoin this weekend, could he, guys?
No, he could not, John. It almost feels like we're in like a movie here or something, and the director just like changed Elon's character without much notice, because a week ago he was a crypto hero, and now he's being regarded as, like, crypto Twitter is really coming after him hard. And yeah, I'm actually going to jump right to some of these tweets that he tweeted out this weekend. Definitely worth mentioning, like you said, John. So let's start with this one that he tweeted 18 hours ago. Bitcoin is actually a highly centralized, with a supermajority controlled by a handful of big mining companies. A single coal mine in Zhejiang flooded, almost killing miners, and Bitcoin hash rate dropped 35%. Sound decentralized to you? And then he followed that up with, hey, cryptocurrency experts, ever heard of PayPal? It's possible, maybe. And I know more than you realize about how money works. So pretty interesting stuff from Elon there. I think it's clear from that second tweet and how he put experts in quotes that he was kind of getting a little bit tired with the response from a lot of the people on crypto Twitter. But his influence can't really be questioned, because he did manage to drive price down on the back of these two tweets. But while doing that, he made a lot of enemies. CJ, what are your thoughts about what Mr. Musk is doing on Twitter this weekend?
Yeah, and the other tweet that he put out favoring Doge, and how if you just increase the block size, it's just technologically wrong. It doesn't work. It increases the centralization within a network as opposed to decentralizing it. We've already had that discussion. That was the split between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin BTC in 2017. So, I mean, those claims just aren't really accurate or warranted. But I mean, I think in all honesty, the price and the posture of the overall trend was pretty weak. But certainly these tweets were a catalyst for that cascading waterfall. I think what's important now is to recognize that there are critical levels, and there will likely be reaction rallies off of these critical levels, because nothing goes up or down in a straight line, and we have fallen extremely fast. So some of those levels I'm watching for are 41K. We saw a nice bounce from that level, and 45K. That's a critical level Fibonacci on the weekly. So we'll have to see how price kind of bounces around in between those two for the time being.
Yeah, CJ, I think you make a great point talking about, the market was kind of weak coming into this weekend. It was very susceptible to movements, especially from to the downside, I think. And, that's exactly what we saw happen this weekend with Elon's tweets. And, a lot of crypto people are pretty upset with him. But the fact of the matter is, like, the influence goes both ways. We were very happy with him just 2 weeks ago when he was driving the price up to new all-time highs. And yeah, that goes both ways. Like John jokingly said on Friday, live by the Elon, die by the Elon. And I feel like we're getting a little bit of a ladder this week. So, for me, this was kind of an inevitability. You don't want people having too much influence over the market. If it was just up to me, I wish it was just as technical as that were driving this market. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that give Elon's opinion a lot of credence. And as a result, he can really move the market. But I think the fact of the matter is, his influence is being shaken out this week, which I think is ultimately a good thing for the market. And yeah, I think you got to look to these critical levels that CJ highlighted. And looking at this Bitcoin chart here, I think it's pretty interesting. I think we may be at a bit of a crossroads here. And depending on the price action we get in the later half of today, that could really dictate where we go this week. CJ mentioned two critical levels, 141K and 145K. Looking at this current chart, we've got a little bit of building volume at this 45K level. We're getting a bit of a bearish hammer candle here. So it's going to be interesting to see what we mint tomorrow. If we can get some bullish price action and continue to see building volume, then perhaps we actually have a solid week despite the bearish news from Elon over the weekend. I think that would be a very encouraging thing. One thing that CJ and I always harp on is kind of this organic growth for Bitcoin and how important that is, and shaking out some of the levered longs and some of these over exuberant traders that aren't ready for any pullbacks. So the fact that a lot of those traders were kind of, shaken out of the market this week, I think will lead to a lot more sustained growth going forward. So I think the technicals are going to have a lot of credence this week. So watch for those levels that CJ pointed out of 45K and 41K, because, I think we're getting to the point where we're pretty news exhausted. So I'll be watching the technicals very closely for the remainder of the week.
I agree. I think, guys, the you cited, the various pivots and supports right around 45, a 32.2% retracement from the 52-week high was 43,342. The 14-day RSI at 30% would be 42,401. I think the big things that I took away were that Bitcoin had corrected give or take 30% from the 64,829 level that we hit in April. And Musk obviously doesn't want to drive his stock down. I guess he doesn't mind so much about driving Bitcoin and some other cryptos down, but he says that Tesla has sold none of its $1.5 billion stash. We're pretty sure that's not true, right, guys? I mean, didn't Elon say that they sold 100 million of that just to prove to the board that, there was the liquidity there for that? So I don't quite understand that. Maybe he means he hasn't sold any of that since that test. But I'm pretty sure that headline was true when they said they sold 100 million worth just to test it. But
Test it.
Yeah, just to test it. I think overall, though, that Monty makes a great point about, we'd rather not it be just all about influencers. A lot of the folks, whether it's Max and Stacy or Pomp or Tone Vase or whomever it might be that you listen to, a lot of them like to cite when Rick Reeder from BlackRock makes positive comments, or Michael Saylor, who was the evangelist for the longest time, still is, but then a lot of focus, just because of who Musk is, gets focused on Musk and his comments. And I think now that he has kind of upended the cryptos, people will pay less attention to him in cryptos now. Now, granted, even though what you said, CJ, is true, I think he could still probably pump Doge here and there, but I think people will take a really hard look at anything he's doing with Bitcoin or any of the other cryptos, because some of what he says seems to be a misunderstanding of what really happens in crypto land, even though obviously he's a rich investor and he knows a lot. He's a smart guy. I think he also is comparing apples to oranges when he's comparing Bitcoin to Doge, and why the cost, whether it's electricity, from the mining cost or whatever, is as high as it is. And most of us aren't using Bitcoin as a currency. Most of us are using it as a store of value, and or a trading vehicle. So we'll have to see exactly where Elon goes next, but I would bet that he will be supplanted by the likes of Mark Cuban or Mr. Wonderful or some of these others. Granted, they don't have quite the same sway that Musk has, but if you get a Zuckerberg move in Facebook, for instance, or some of those things, I think that would rival Elon. And I think, like I say, crypto will tend to dismiss Elon outside of Doge pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. I agree with you. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter already kind of trying to debunk some of the things that Elon said. But, like one thing that he talked about was the centralization of miners. He mentioned that mining operation in China that flooded. I, a lot of people have said that mining centralization is not the same thing as a centralized network. Miners work for the network. There's a difference between miners and nodes. And, Elon seems to be missing that. But like I said earlier, ultimately that doesn't matter because he had the influence to drive price up and he has the influence to drive price down. Whether he's right or wrong, it's his influence that's moving the price, not so much what he's saying. So, but yeah, we could debunk Elon all day, but let's move on to our Doges of the day. What do you guys say? There's still plenty of interesting opportunities in this market. So what are you guys looking at today?
Well, just real quick though, Bitcoin dominance is just hanging right at 40% right now. Ethereum right around 19%. As I said weeks ago with you guys and to those of you watching, I have only added one Bitcoin on this drop, but I've added a bunch of Ethereum because I think Ethereum, it's not that I don't believe in Bitcoin. I've got it in cold storage and I've got some that I trade from my Voyager wallet. But I just think that Ethereum has kind of shown its might, and I won't be surprised if there's a flippening this year because it certainly seemed well on its way when the market cap of Ethereum could, for instance, surpass that of Bitcoin. I think it could happen this year. I know Max and Stace and a bunch of the Bitcoin maximalists are out there with the idea that Bitcoin is still going to 220,000, which would be, let's give or take 5x from here. I think Ethereum has a lot more in it than Bitcoin, and that's why I've been adding more aggressively below 3,400 in Ethereum. So Ethereum's going to be my Doge, big guy.
That's a really interesting point with Bitcoin dominance, because we're seeing something we haven't really seen before, and that is Bitcoin's price going down and Bitcoin dominance going down as well, because normally it's the inverse, right? Normally Bitcoin dominance is acted almost like a VIX, like a fear index, where the whole market sells off, everyone in alts panics and goes into Bitcoin. But I think probably as a result of stable coins, as a result of more retail participation and being in Doge and things like that, we're just seeing Bitcoin dominance continue to fall. So I think that's something very interesting, and definitely supports your point about the alts having a lot of resilience going into this sell-off. But with that being said, I guess I'll get to my Doge of the day, which is SRM, Serum. This is a decentralized exchange which is built on top of the Solana blockchain. Like you mentioned with Ethereum, I think Solana is also going to have a very, very nice end of the year. And I think it will rally with blockchains and projects like Cardano and Ethereum for that reason. Serum specifically has a lot of very low fees, and so that is their value proposition for their decentralized exchange. Now, from a technical perspective, volume is up, average volume is up 68% on this one, so getting a decent jump there. Also, we're seeing some pretty bullish price action. We had a bullish engulfing candle, or we had buyers willing to step up when Bitcoin rallied from the 41K level. So Serum is going to be one that I'm watching for volume and technicals if we get a potential reaction rally here above 45K. So that's going to be my Doge of the day, SRM.
Very nice, CJ. Thank you for that. My Doge of the day today is going to be Chainlink or Link. Full disclosure, I do hold Link, and I've been looking for a buying opportunity for Link for the last couple of weeks now because I believe in the potential of Link going forward. Like John pointed out, ETH is really taking a lot of the market share from Bitcoin, and I think that's going to benefit a lot of altcoins, particularly a lot of the Oracle networks like Chainlink. So what I'm seeing here is a pretty interesting technical formation as well. The volume has been, somewhat strong over the last 3 days, holding up even amidst the rest of the market somewhat selling off. And we're forming this kind of bullish hammer candle here. So like I pointed out with Bitcoin, I'm waiting for tomorrow's candle to see what's minted. If we can get, a bullish candle here, we can get volume that exceeds today's volume. I think that'd be a very encouraging factor that Link could make a run up to the $50 level and smash through and continue to make all-time highs. I think this is one that, like CJ said with Serum, is one that has the potential to perform tremendously well throughout the duration of the year. I think it's going to be a benefactor of a lot of retail speculation. And, I think it's going to perform well alongside Ethereum. So, not just on the macro level, I think the micro level technicals for this are looking pretty strong as well. So I'm going to be watching Link closely for the rest of the day. I think if it continues to see a strong build in volume and, we possibly get a bullish candle tomorrow, this thing could be set to break through to all-time highs. So Link, that is my Doge of the day today.
Cool. Well, folks, keep in mind that 24/7, you can join Matt and CJ in the chat room. Again, thank you for the thousands of you that have done that. And it's a shared wisdom. It's not just Matt and CJ and the other traders that they bring into the room, but it's the people in the room that are many of them asking questions that you'd ask, that perhaps if you're a newbie that you would be embarrassed to ask, but that back and forth that goes on in the chat room, the support and resistance levels and all that is something you could avail yourself of 24/7. Yes, it is a 24/7 room, and it's $1 for your first month. So check that out, as well as the sponsor of this program, Voyager, where you can trade 50 plus digital assets with no commission. Coinbase charges a very hefty commission. Voyager charges none. And you can make up to, I think, 8.6% on your deposited crypto, depending which one. So make sure you check out Voyager. And if you open a new account, enter Rebel25 and they'll give you 25 bucks worth of Bitcoin just for signing up. So with that said, I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see what tomorrow brings, what the good Elon giveth or the good Elon taketh away.
Yep. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching.